Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the National Timely Action Hour. This is the show where we talk about everything from comic books to movies and everything in between. My name is Aidan, and I hope that you're doing well today. So in this video, I'm going to be doing a review of The Avengers #1 by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, originally published by Marvel Comics Group in September of 1963. Now, obviously, this is not an original copy. This is a reprint that I bought at Toronto Fan Expo 2025, I believe, or 2024. But I paid $6 Canadian for this, and I'm very happy with that. I got it along with some other reprints of important Marvel comics, predominantly from the Silver Age, but a couple from the Bronze Age. But getting into the background of the Avengers, all of these characters had appeared beforehand in other books. For example, The Incredible Hulk had his own series, but that was canceled after issue number 6 because of poor sales. And Iron Man appeared in Tales of Suspense. Thor appeared in Journey into Mystery. Check out my review of that. And also check out my review of Hulk #1. And Ant-Man and the Wasp appeared in Tales to Astonish. And the villain Loki, spoiler alert, but I'm going to spoil this whole book for you, but Loki had appeared as Thor's arch nemesis. And so, yeah, here is the beautiful, vibrant cover. I really love Jack Kirby's artwork, and Stan Lee's dialogue can be a bit cheesy and, you know, unintentionally funny, but that is just, you know, how it is. And unfortunately both of these men are dead, and I don't mean to speak ill of the dead. It's just, you know, sometimes Stan was quite the character. But getting into the actual story here, also the inks were done by a man named Dick Ayers, and lettering was done by a man named S. Rosen. I'll throw up his full name on the screen here. But here is the opening page. As with all classic comic books, it has a cool page teasing what's going to happen in the book, and, you know, showcasing the credits as well as, you know, some flowery wording. But essentially, in a previous story, Thor had defeated Loki for the umpteenth time and had imprisoned him on the Isle of Silence, which is a remote island within Asgardian realms, and Loki is plotting his revenge. And so he decides to use his thought projection magical spell to find Thor in his human guise as Dr. Donald Blake, and once he finds him, he'll figure out what he's going to do with him. So we see Donald Blake and his nurse, Jane Foster, the woman whom he loves, tending to a little boy and his mother, and then Loki's like, well, I don't want to kill him when he's Donald, because that's going to be stupid. We wouldn't have a comic then. He's not breaking the fourth wall. But, you know, he's like, that's not going to satisfy me, so I'll have to come up with a crisis to draw him out as Thor. So he looks around the world, and he finds Hulk leaping across the desert in New Mexico, which is where he, you know, normally is. And so he's like, okay. So he comes up with a scheme where he places the illusion of TNT dynamite on a train track, and Hulk sees it and he goes to snuff out the wick, but it's an illusion, so he crashes down and destroys the train track. And there's a train coming. They're about to die. Hulk picks up a boulder to like brace under the track so he can like stand on it and like use his back to hold up the tracks, and so they go over. But the train conductor and the engineer who are in the front see the Hulk's head poking out, and they're like, oh crap, Hulk's trying to kill us and we're going at top speed, we can't stop. But you know, they go over and Hulk's back holding up the track, so they survive, but they report it. And so the newspaper says that Hulk is responsible for damaging the railroad. And Rick Jones, Hulk's sidekick, sees this, and he's like, walloping web snappers. That's Spider-Man's catchphrase from the 60s cartoon, but you know, he might as well say that. But he goes to the Team Brigade, which is a ham radio club that he's a part of, and they're like, we'll call the Fantastic Four on their radio frequency and get them to help. So they're in Albuquerque. The Fantastic Four is in New York City. So they transmit their message, but Loki uses his magic to jam the signal, so it will go to the radio that Donald Blake is listening to while he works. And he's like, sounds like a message for Thor. Boom, transforms. And unbeknownst to Loki, other people have also heard this transmission because his magic unintentionally sent it to other people. So we see Ant-Man and the Wasp in their lab in New York getting ready, and Stan's dialogue with Hank and Janet, oh my gosh. With any woman, really. Oh boy. Because, you know, she's like, hey, Hank, wait for me. And he's like, why do you have to powder your nose every time we go out? And she's like, ah. And he's like, okay, now shut up, get in this, you know, gun catapult thing that will launch us so we can then ride these flying ants to get to New Mexico. Because if she flew all the way, she'd get tired by the time they got there. So I understand the logic, and I understand that Jack just wanted to draw some cool stuff, but yeah. And also Anthony Stark, aka Iron Man, who at this point has a secret identity. The world thinks that Iron Man is Tony Stark's bodyguard, but he's in his office in Los Angeles, and he is like, interesting that I picked up that radio signal for the Fantastic Four, but let me suit up. And so he uses his solar powered battery to he uses his backup solar powered battery to you know, fly to New Mexico, because if he used his lucky transistors, then it would, you know, take up too much power. So once he gets close, he then switches to his transistors, and then he goes the rest of the way through that method. And then we cut back to the Team Brigade in their clubhouse, and they get a response from Mr. Fantastic, who's like, hey, sorry we were out, but you know, according to my calculations, you should be getting visitors who could be able to help you. Anyway, if that doesn't work out, call me back. Click. And Ben is complaining how he has to do all the heavy lifting. Well, you're the strong guy, Ben. Also, check out my review of Fantastic Four number 1 and number 5. And so then we cut back to the Team Brigade, and the cadre of superheroes have gathered in their clubhouse, and Hank and Janet use the projector to, you know, be able to be seen by them because they're microscopic. And yeah, this is the not quite the formation of the Avengers, but we're getting there. Meanwhile, Loki's like, oh crap, this isn't how I planned it. So he uses his projection powers to show Thor, who's like next to the window, Hulk jumping by, and he's like, oh, by Odin's beard, the Hulk, I must pursue. No need to tell the others, I can catch him off, head him off at the pass. But we see what would be a cool fight, but turns out to just be an illusion. So Thor's like, ah, Loki. So I gotta beseech my father to let me pummel the crap out of my adopted brother. And so we see him calling Heimdall to go up the Rainbow Bridge. Meanwhile, Iron Man's like, hey, where's Thor? Then we cut back to Hulk, who's disguised as a clown in a circus. A clown strongman in a circus. And people are just hooting and hollering, loving the show. And one of Ant-Man's ants finds Hulk and transmits it back to Ant-Man, who's like, okay, Iron Man, you, me, and Janet, let's go. And so the ants tunnel under Hulk and like bring him down. Then we get this cool sequence where they're trying to restrain the Hulk, and he's like, I gotta get out of here. And then the audience is thinking that it's part of the show. They're like, oh, how grand, how lovely, ha 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 ha. And they're like, oh crap, it's the Hulk, when he wipes the makeup off. And we see Hulk pick up like one of those like fire stokers. You know, you use it to like get some air in the fire to stoke the flames. He uses that to like shoo Wasp away, and she's like, eek. Also, I forgot to mention, but at this point, Hank and Janet are not officially together. Like, they're crime-fighting partners, but they're not romantically involved yet. And so she's like, oh, Thor is so dreamy. Eek. Iron Man and Hulk are so icky. It's funny. Because she's a woman, you see. But Iron Man sneaks up on Hulk, tries to subdue him, and Hulk tries to like jump out of the tent, but Ant-Man like used the trapeze net to trap him, but Hulk just like boom. And so Iron Man flies after him, but he gets so Hulk jumps, like lands, Iron Man's flying by, Hulk jumps back up and grabs Iron Man and boom! And Iron Man's like, hey, I'm trying to help you, man, but if you're gonna keep on pummeling me, I'm gonna fight back. Then we cut back to Asgard, where Odin says, sure, you can fight Loki, but I don't want to be involved because I love you two. Work it out, you two boys. And so Thor goes to the Isle of Silence. He has to like make a few pit stops because Loki is trying to protect himself. So he's putting up casting illusions to distract him. And he thinks he's got the drop on Thor, but then Thor's like, haha! And Loki's like, dude! Using his magic to defend himself. And Thor is speaking, but Loki's like, you idiot, this is the Isle of Silence, and here's why. The trolls live underground, and so Thor has to fight a troll, which is really, really cool. And Loki's monologuing at him while this is happening. And since this is a facsimile reprint, we get the original advertisements. But I really like the bombastic action in this comic, and we get some advertisements for some other stuff, comics that are available. And finally, Thor outsmarts Loki, and then we cut back to Earth, where Iron Man is still chasing after Hulk. Hulk jumps past the plane, and they're like, oh my gosh. And then Iron Man uses his radio to go to the airplane's radio. It's like, hey, did you guys see the Hulk? Yeah, you went that way. So Hulk ends up in Detroit, and he's like running through a car factory, and then Iron Man's like, all right, I got you. And Hulk's like, oh no you ain't, and throwing car parts at him. And it's a really cool fight. And then Thor comes down with Loki, because he's like, I'm here to clear up this whole mess. Loki's the cause of all the shenanigans. He framed Hulk, and now we're gonna beat him up together. And then Loki is like, stand back, you fools! I am a god!
Enough! You are all of you beneath me! I am a god, you dull creature! And I will not be bullied by that!
Puny god.
And then they defeat Loki by using a trapdoor to like put him in a... Loki is like emitting radiation. He uses his magic to make himself radioactive to like make them sick, to stay away from him. And then they trap him in this lead line thing that negates the radiation. And Thor is like, well, when his magic wears off, I'm gonna take him back to Asgard to be punished. And they're like, and Ant-Man's like, hey, we should team up more often. And Iron Man's like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea to me. Thor's like, yeah, I'm in for that. I will join you. And Hulk's like, I'm tired of running from the army, so yeah, if you guys will back me up and be my friends, I'm willing to do that. And Janet's like, Wasp is like, we should come up with a cool name, something dramatic like the Avengers. And they're like, that's what we'll call ourselves. And that's the end. And that is how the Avengers first assembled. Now, the reason why they came up with this series was because, like I said, the Hulk series was canceled and the others were relegated to anthology books, and Jack Kirby just wanted to draw more cool shit, and Stan Lee wanted another book so that he would stay employed. So they came up with this, and the rest is history. And I really enjoy it. Like I said, the dialogue is cheesy and kooky, but it gets the job done. And the artwork is fantastic. And I overall rate it a 10 out of 10. Definitely recommend it for fans of the Avengers who haven't already read this, or if you're just getting into Marvel Comics, if you can find a reprint or an omnibus or a collected edition with this, then definitely check that out. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video for the National Timely Action Hour. Once again, my name is Aidan, and I sincerely appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this video. If you enjoyed it, please click the like button. If you're new to my show, want to check out more videos like this, please subscribe and ring the bell to be notified when I post new videos. And in the description, I'll leave links to my podcast, so if you'd like to listen to me discuss the same topics but don't have time to watch a full video, then please subscribe and share that with your friends, and share this with your friends if they're interested in this sort of content. Also in the description, I'll leave links to my Patreon page and merch store, so if you'd like to support this show financially, I would greatly appreciate that. And you can also find my social media links, so you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, and Discord, so you can send me a message and stay up to date on the channel. And once again, sincerely thank you, and I sincerely hope that you all have a wonderful day. Bye.